I'm Scott Jensen, former Assembly Speaker.
And I'm Chuck Chvala, former Senate Majority Leader.
And we're the insiders. This week, let's talk about the Democratic primary for the United States Senate. How's that shaping up, Chuck? And who do you think the favorite is in that race?
Boy, I'll tell you, I have a hard time picking one. There are, I would say, 4 people who all have very strong credentials and reasons why they could be the front runner. Let me first name Thomas Nelson. Thomas Nelson is probably the hardest working person in politics. Thomas got out of the blocks early. He's raised more than $300,000. He actually is the county executive out of Outagamie County, which is the famous Fox River Valley, where races are won and lost in the state of Wisconsin, or at least they used to be, and maybe they still are. I think Thomas is a hardworking guy, a very bright guy. And by the way, he saved a paper plant up in his area. That's a really positive thing to be able to use at a time when Democrats are trying to get back those blue collar votes. So he's got that. Then you've got Alex Lasry, the head of the Bucks, obviously a lot of money. And by the way, he raised $1 million in the last quarter. This is a guy who was very much involved in the Democratic convention, bringing it to Milwaukee. Obviously, as the leader of the Bucks, he's got a lot to recommend him. Then you've got Sarah Godlewski, who is the only statewide elected person. We know that worked well for Governor Evers. She is also, up until very recently, was the only woman in the race, but there is a physician out of Wausau, Jillian Bettino, who's running. So she's not the only one, but she does have a strong position as a woman in the race who's been elected statewide. And then the final person is someone you might look at as a surprise candidate, an individual who has a lot of national fame in the nonprofit area. And his name is Steve Alikara. He is an Indian American, a lifelong Wisconsin resident. And this guy, here's the sweet spot for him, or the piece that I think could make him an interesting and surprising candidate. The Indian American people were solidly behind Kamala Harris and made a very substantial financial commitment to her. This is a very important U.S. Senate race. Is it possible, and there is a chance, that the Indian American community might get behind this gentleman and really do something? And if that's the case, given his background, he might be a strong contender, and he has some surprising support from different quarters around the state. So you've got I think you've got 4 different people who have reasons that they could be big winners. But here's what I would say fundamentally in this race. $1 million is table stakes. You're not going to be in this race if you can't raise at least $1 million and probably more. And by the way, every single one of these candidates, if they have any brain power whatsoever in their campaign staff, will spend every dime that they have in the primary. Why? Because this is such a national race that the day after the election, in fact, probably the weeks before the primary, the National Democratic Party is going to be in here blasting the water around Ron Johnson or whoever the candidate is on the Republican side. These candidates only need to raise money for their primary, and a lot of it will be, can they be competitive with enough money to be able to get their message out in the primary?
So I would agree with you that, that Tom Nelson is clever and hardworking, but he's not shown the ability to raise money or much money in the past. And this race, that's really going to matter in the primary, because you have a New York billionaire who's running in the race, or the son of a New York billionaire who's running in the race, Alex Lasry. Lasry started out well, getting lots of endorsements. He's able to spend unlimited amounts of money. But my guess is that people in the Democratic primary aren't going to be real comfortable giving New York a third United States senator. I think Sarah Godlewski is by far the favorite. In the Democratic primary, in a primary, women are a strong majority of the people who vote in a Democratic primary. There are well-funded national organizations that have done a great job on the left in pushing forward women candidates. It's been a part of the reason Democrats have done well in a lot of these races around the country, and I expect that they will come in for Sarah Godlewski as well in this race. So my guess is that she has the head start in this race. She's the candidate with the greatest potential and the highest ceiling.
I think that Scott is right, that Sarah Godlewski has a lot of potential, but I don't think you should discount these other people. If it is down to just Sarah and several guys, I think that if you have 3 guys and 1 woman, I think that's a factor as well. And Scott is right that the Democratic primary vote consists of a greater percentage of women in the race. But there are a lot of twists and turns that go into a race before it's over. So I would not want to prejudge here that even though some people may see her as an early favorite, not everyone sees it that way. And there are a lot of different things that can go on here that can put this race into a different fixture. Let's go back to the old Russ Feingold race. Nobody gave Russ Feingold a chance. And I was serving with him in the legislature when he ran for the U.S. Senate. I was serving with him in the Senate. Everybody knew. They just absolutely knew it was Chakota and Moody. There was no chance for this kid from Dane County. It wasn't going to happen. And all of a sudden they attacked each other, and there was this opening, and Russ Feingold had a great group of people doing campaign ads who came up with some innovative ads, and he was able to win the primary. I think anytime you have a multi-person primary, it's very difficult to predict which way it might go. And I think that this is a situation where you have to be prepared. But Scott, I understand what he's saying, but she is not the only woman in the race anymore. And I'll tell you, this woman, the physician from Wausau, if she were able to come up with some money, she has some legs too. A lot of different possibilities that can happen here before it's all over. And I would say I would watch all four of these people. And by the way, we didn't even mention Mandela Barnes. He's out there testing the waters. Does he get in? I don't think so. But if he does, that would really be a shakeup to the race as well.
Well, it'll be fascinating to watch, as most Democratic primaries are.
See you next time.